Aqua friends, welcome back. Day 3, we're doing a butterfly here. Just love this reference photo. Love, love, love the bright colors in the background here. So, by the way, most of these little mini paintings I did film while I was away from my studio. So hopefully you could bear with me with the quality. I was at my mom's and I had to do with whatever light source I could find. So anyways, I did the best I could do, and I still think that these are worth showing you. These are so cute, and I decided to turn these little mini paintings into a summer series. So we are going to draw the butterfly on your piece of paper and then wet the background. Not the butterfly, just the background, and we're working wet on wet here. I am using ochre pink mixed with my phthalo blue red shade, and it kind of made a very beautiful purpley pink. And then in some areas I'm just using my ochre pink, and man, that is just an in-your-face color. When you mix the pinks and the blues together, you get these awesome purples. And there are some dark areas, dark bands, like you see in the reference photo. Those I will be putting in a little bit, but let's get all our colors in. I have some lighter blues. You can use a peacock blue, which is a very beautiful warm blue. And I'm also bringing in some greens. This is sap green and some yellows. This is my Aussie Red Gold, which is a beautiful deep orange yellow. And they are going to blend together, all these colors. I'm trying to be very careful not to get it on my butterfly. With a fluffy dry brush, I'm helping that blend. And while my paper is still wet, now is the time that you're going to put in those dark bands. And I decided to do this with neutral tint. So there is some foliage and grasses in the background, and I'm drawing those in, and they're spreading so that it's just very lovely and soft and wispy. Once you're happy with the background and the grasses, you're going to let that whole thing dry. Once it's dry, we are going to put our first layer on the butterfly. So this butterfly is a beautiful cool blue, and I decided to use my phthalo blue red shade for this. Ultramarine, cobalt blue, those are other blues that would also work really well. So working wet on wet, I'm wetting the butterfly first. And then I'm going to go about dropping in these blues. There are some areas that are lighter on the butterfly, as you can see in the reference photo. So I'm keeping those areas lighter, but we're really going to be building up the color around the edges. So in order to do that, take a thicker consistency of paint on your brush. You can wipe off the excess moisture on your brush before dipping it back in the paint. Then you're going to have a nice thick consistency. Your paint is going to be darker along the edges, like I'm doing here. So I'm continuing with that, building up these colors. The more contrast that you have between these darks and lights, the more eye-catching it will be. Even though we do have to have a balance and it can't be too jarring on the eye because, you know, that would work against us. So you have to find that balance that you're happy with. While it's still wet, I'm bringing in that neutral tint. Everybody asks me what neutral tint is. It is a color just like Payne's Gray, except I do find it a lot more neutral, whereas Payne's Gray really pulls towards purple. So we got some beautiful contrast, and that butterfly is really popping. We're going to let that whole thing dry again, and then our final layer on the butterfly is going to be wet on dry. So we're going to paint the body around the wings and his little antennas. Outlining him like this is really pulling in that contrast, and he just really pops against that background now, and it's quite lovely. So once you're happy with that, I'm just dragging in some lines. Butterflies always have these patterns on their wings, and so I'm just trying to get in a little bit of detail. With the script liner brush, getting those cute little antennas. Now we can also draw in some of these grasses that are in focus, working wet on dry with my script liner brush, and increasing that contrast between the foreground and the background. For the last little touch, I did put some little patterns on his wings with my script liner brush. Some very faint lines here. And that is it for this one. And take the tape off, and look how pretty that turned out. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.